Good morning. Rise and shine, my friends. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Katherine Hobbs. Thank you so much for starting your morning with me. Well, yesterday's forecast made a liar out of me, and now it's looking like we're going to have another day of sun ahead of us. Highs will reach 85 degrees with a possibility of rain later in the week. Okay, so I didn't get the good at math autism, but I did get the science junkie flavor. A few astronomy classes in undergrad later, and I fell in love with anything to do with the moon. And tonight, the moon is reaching her first quarter. And while a quarter moon may look like it's half illuminated, there's a whole side of the moon we never see. Have you ever wondered why? More on that in a minute, but first, let's get you the news you need to be the most informed person in line for a latte. Dallas County homeowners in Wiley, Wilmer, and Louisville, and those who had to pay taxes in the Dallas Independent School District, were some of those hit hardest by spikes in market value this year, according to preliminary data released last week by the Dallas Central Appraisals District. Dallas County homeowners and many others across North Texas hoping for tax relief have only one more day to protest their valuation from the local appraisals district. Dallas Police Department officials hope that using a facial recognition system will help close more cases, identify suspects, and save time for investigators. The company they want to hire out to do the job has faced years of criticism and a class action lawsuit that raised questions about how data is collected. Police officials also told council members at Monday's Public Safety Committee meeting that while general orders to govern the facial recognition technology have not yet been finalized, the department has already used it in a few investigations. Dallas lawyer Brittany K. Barnett has spent over a decade working to free people serving life sentences in prison for drug offenses. KERA's Christopher Connolly interviewed Barnett on stage at the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum recently. They talked about the first case Barnett took on.
Brittany Barnett first learned about Sharonda Jones in 2009 from YouTube. Barnett was researching federal war on drugs policies that led to long sentences for nonviolent offenses. And she started Googling.
And a YouTube video of a woman named Sharonda Jones pops up. And Sharonda was serving a life sentence for drugs in federal prison. She was in her 10th year. She had never been arrested ever before for a traffic ticket or otherwise. And I just remember thinking, there has to be something more to this story. But the more I researched, I found that there wasn't, that Sharonda had been convicted of one single count of federal drug conspiracy.
Jones's case resonated with Barnett. They're both black women. They're both from Texas, but Barnett was in law school while Jones was in her 10th year in prison. Barnett's mother had been imprisoned on drug charges, and Jones was a single mom with an 8-year-old when she went to prison.
And there was just something about her case that tugged at my soul.
Barnett wrote to Jones, offering to help. Jones wrote back, thanked Barnett for her interest, and wished her well in her studies. But Barnett kept in touch and dug into her case. Jones had trafficked cocaine a few times in the late 90s for two friends who were drug dealers. It was extra cash to supplement the money she earned at the restaurant that she co-owned. After a police raid, the dealers got lighter sentences because they agreed to testify against Jones. By the time Brittany Barnett found out about her case, they were already out of prison.
She was never caught with any drugs, never in possession of large amounts of money, never on any drug surveillance, no controlled buys. She was convicted solely based on the testimony of her co-conspirators.
Jones was sentenced to 47 years, a massive sentence because the dealers turned the powder cocaine into crack. At the time, federal law penalized crack cocaine 100 times more harshly than powder cocaine.
You could have 500 grams of powder cocaine. I could have only 5 grams of crack, and we would receive the same sentence. And what this disproportionate ratio did was it locked up a lot of black and brown people.
Barnett believed she could help Jones, but she didn't know how. Legal reforms in 2010 and 2011 reduced crack cocaine sentences, but those were not made retroactive.
And very, very sadly, Sharonda Jones was still facing life without parole.
As national attention increasingly focused on nonviolent drug offenders languishing in prison, President Obama granted Jones clemency in 2015. It was 16 years after she'd gone to prison. She'd missed her mother's funeral and the rest of her daughter's childhood. In 2018, Barnett and Jones helped launch the Buried Alive Project to advocate for people serving life sentences for drugs. They've helped free 60 people so far.
It is scratching concrete. It is picking locks to human cages. It is a liberation heist. And it is my life's work.
Barnett also launched a fund to help formerly incarcerated people start businesses. Sharonda Jones was the first recipient. She now runs a food truck. It's called Fed Up.
That was Dallas lawyer Brittany K. Barnett and KERA's Christopher Connolly. Well, the Stars defeated the Colorado Avalanche 5-1. Meanwhile, the Mavs lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder 100-96, and the Rangers lost to the Guardians 7-0. Okay, have you ever wondered why we never see the dark side of the moon? While the moon may not appear to rotate, it spins on its axis tidally locked to our planet. In simple terms, that means that it takes as long for the moon to rotate as it does to orbit the Earth. Now, just because we haven't seen it from Earth doesn't mean no one has seen it. And no, I'm not talking about aliens, although... But for real, the Soviet spacecraft Lunar 3 captured the first images of the far side in 1959. And since then, NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and other crafts have landed on the far side of the moon. As the second race for boots on the moon unfolds, we might just get human eyes on it soon. The oldest surviving play in history has traveled all the way from ancient Greece to the Undermain Theater in Deep Ellum. Check out The Persians on now until May 26th, and for more arts and culture in the Metroplex, visit kera.org/calendar. Thank you so much for starting your day with me today. I'm so glad you take a few minutes to listen each morning. Be sure to subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA newsletter at keranews.org, and check us out on Instagram and Threads at KERATX. I'm Catherine Hobbs. We'll chat again tomorrow.